Kwesi Adofo-Mensah and the Minnesota Vikings are playing Moneyball. Now, most of you probably know the story of Moneyball with the Oakland A's and in the early 2000s with general manager Billy Beane. The reason I'm saying this is the fact that Kwesi is releasing the big names of the franchise, like in Moneyball. All of you know the releases of the big names from the Oakland A's, which eventually made them better. Like, for example, the releasing of Adam Theilen, who was a huge cap hit, Dalvin Tomlinson, Eric Kendricks, Patrick Peterson, and potentially Zadarius Smith, and bringing in cheaper options and cheaper versions of these players to fill in their roles, like Byron Murphy, Marcus Davenport, Dean Lowry. They are all much cheaper, and some of them are better versions of these players. Now, I can talk about Zadarius Smith in another video. He is a topic I've been wanting to talk about recently, but the Vikings are in the perfect place to take the best player available. It's either most likely to be a wide receiver or a DB in the 2023 NFL draft. I'm saying this because the Vikings have expressed great interest in getting a true wide receiver too. I know that Osborne could potentially be a wide receiver too, but he's more of a wide receiver 3 to me. He's too inconsistent to be able to play in the wide receiver 2 role, for my opinion. And by doing this, the Vikings are saving a crap ton of money with the releasing of Dalvin Tomlinson. The Cleveland Browns signed him to a 4-year, $57 million deal with $27.5 million guaranteed. And the Vikings cannot compete with that kind of money for a defensive tackle of Tomlinson's caliber. I think it was actually a smart move. I know everyone's hating on the Vikings for releasing Tomlinson and getting a dude named Dean Lowry, who they think's a terrible move. I mean, overall, if you're to think about it, Kwesi is making some big moves. And the re-signing of Harrison Smith, it's huge. Harrison Smith took a huge freaking pay cut. It was amazing. It was truly wonderful. He really wants to be part of this Vikings team. He is a part of this Vikings team. He's the heart and soul of this Vikings team. And we needed him to take that pay cut. And he did take the pay cut, which he is a team player, and he is a true leader. And most players would not do that. Like, I know all you know, Tom Brady, he took a pay cut so he could win more Super Bowls. To be granted, though, fact of the matter, he did have a rich model wife. But anyway, we need to be able to have money to win championships in Minnesota. And Kwesi knows that. And we can't be paying a defensive tackle that hasn't been playing the top of his game at all, really. He's mediocre. And I know that's kind of a stretch, but because Tomlinson did have big moments during the season. But I don't think Tomlinson is worth $57 million. I know most of you don't think that either. And to get Dean Lowry on a prove-it deal is a pretty good move. I know I talked about that in the video. I just want to say that. And then we get to Zadarius Smith. I really want to talk about it in another video, but I'm just going to give you a quick rundown. I don't think the Vikings are going to release him. I mean, he just needs to be more consistent through the second half of the season. The first half, he was playing like an MVP caliber, not MVP, Defensive Player of the Year caliber, and he was an elite edge rusher through the first half of the season, getting like 9.5 sacks. Second half of the season, he had half a sack. I mean, to be fair, he did get a lot of pressures, but we just need him to execute on that end. And if we can keep Z around for another year, I know he wants to be released, but I don't think the Vikings are going to release him. If they were going to release him, it would have been last Friday. So I'll dive into that more on another video, but I just want to say that quickly. And then the Dalvin Cook decision has to be probably be before July. I talked about that in my last video, but pretty much I think around July or June, one of those 2 months, there's a rollover, which would cost a ton of freaking money, and we don't want to do that. So the Cook would get guaranteed, I think, like $8 million, and we don't want that to happen. But I've been seeing a lot of things recently on like Twitter and Instagram about people getting mad at Kirk for not taking a huge pay cut. And I want to bring this up really quick. He is not even a top 10 pick quarterback in the league. It's not 2017 anymore, guys. Kwesi knows this, and Kwesi knows that Kirk is worth this, and Kirk knows what he's worth. Now, I think Kirk's a top 10 QB in the league. Sue me. I don't really care. Numbers and production he puts up, he had one bad play the entire season. That was on 4th and 8, and he checked a 3-yard check down with the game on the line, season on the line. Everybody's human, and the defense let up 24 points, and Kwesi has to identify that Kirk is not the issue here. But Kirk was willing enough to take a cap. Kirk took a cap conversion which is saving the Vikings a ton of money. And the Kwesi to the cap conversion, which is saving the Vikings a ton of money. I worded that wrong. My bad. That's on me. Kwesi to the cap conversion on Kirk's contract, which is going to save the Vikings money in the long run. Saves like $16 million. And Kirk is good enough to win a Super Bowl. We just have to fix the defense. We can't be giving up 31 points to the Giants. They're not a good team. And by filling in cheaper roles, by getting Dean Lowry, by getting Byron Murphy, who's much better than Patrick Peterson, can't sue me about that. I don't care. That's my opinion. But by getting a great cornerback in Byron Murphy for cheap, I'd say, and getting getting a solid defensive tackle that can produce the amount as Tomlinson for cheap too, and also getting Marcus Davenport. Kwesi has made big moves, but he's not getting acknowledged for it. And this is a Moneyball-esque move. I don't get why people are mad. I think Kwesi's been making big moves, and we're in a great position to take, hopefully, praying Jordan Addison in the draft, or the best player available. And Kwesi knows this, and Kwesi is making a Moneyball-esque rebuild. This is my take. This is All Eyes North. I'm Preston Johnson. Catch you in the next one. See you.
For 3-on-2. Brutus to Marshall. He scores! Throws. Caught!